Okay, we're live.
Hello,
Okay,
hello.
awesome. Okay, so today we wanted to talk about market research. And I know that
Mhm.
sounds like such a boring topic, right? It's like, what does that have to do with beauty at all, right?
It really can sound like such a scary, broad, like, what do you mean market research? What is that? Right? Especially to people who are newer or just starting their businesses in the beauty industry. And then how to make that connection between this business strategy and also your beauty business. How does it fit together?
Right. So, in any like coaching program or program that you do, that's whether it's helping you specifically in beauty to get clients, or maybe you
Mhm.
decide that you're wanting to learn something like, growing digital products and, trainings and your weekend trainings or something. Um, Whatever you're trying to do, you have to build that foundation first. This is everybody's rule. So if you have a lack of foundation, then you don't have any direction on who you're talking to. And so as a beauty professional who wants to book out, forget, I know there's a lot of like controversy over six figures, which there shouldn't be, but
Yeah.
forget that. Let's talk about the actual numbers of booking yourself out. So that means, what is booking out, right? So it's the amount of available hours that you have in your business are filled with appointments, right?
Correct.
So,
That's correct.
um, so in that case, like if you're struggling with that, so forget about a number, a gimmicky, whatever. Let's talk about straight up just booking out. If you're just putting stuff out there because you see other artists doing this, because you see other professionals doing whatever, and you don't know what they're doing, right? You just think, oh, they're booked out, so it must be helping them to do that, right? You
Yeah.
don't, yeah, you don't have a strong foundation because you don't even know who you're talking to.
It's like throwing darts in the dark. Right?
Mhm.
You're just gonna, I see this line of people in line to play darts at the bar. Okay, I'm just gonna do that, but I don't know why I'm doing that, right? It's a copycat mentality of how to run your business. And that's
And
just not what's gonna work.
And that's
Unfortunately.
how most beauty pros, they run their business. They focus on, they jump in Facebook groups and they say, this is what's wrong. What do you guys think? They get
Yeah.
advice from people who don't know their location, who don't know their niche market, who don't know, um, what is who these people are that they're trying to attract. And then
Mhm.
they post and they hope, and they, or you call it like post and pray, right? Or they put out an ad. Okay, an ad is even scarier because you don't know who you're talking to. So if you put out an ad and it's not attractive to the people that you're trying to attract in the area, then it's not going to work, and that's burning money, right?
Right. You're putting out ads without the market research, right? This data that we're going to talk about today, it's burning money. It's wasting your time, which as a beauty pro, you don't want to have that much admin time out there. You want to make that a one day thing. You basically streamlining your processes with data, effective data behind it, so that the actions you take in your business are the most effective to getting you booked out, to getting you the income that you need to run your business successfully, right?
Exactly. So, that being said, so now that we understand why we're even doing this research, why we're even filling out ideal client profiles when we do a free training on a webinar or something, right? Um, it's so funny because every single client for the majority, who have come in and gotten help from us, have told me, "Oh yeah, I've done this before."
Yeah.
So it's a very popular thing, I think, in the
Because
industry to
it is
do.
important, it's part of the piece, but then it can't just sit there, right? It just, okay, I did it. How does it work? How does it
Right.
work?
What
Yeah.
do you do with it, right? And so that's where kind of like my branding expertise comes in, because that's branding, right? So essentially, no matter what the thing about branding, what's so funny is we see so many of these classes and stuff that teach you're gonna have branding 101 or whatever included and stuff, and they'll send you like, or they'll give you tips on how to find your retractable banners on Pinterest or Etsy or whatever, and what your colors should be or whatever. It's very light, fluffy stuff. The truth is,
Right.
though, if the branding that matters, the thing about branding is you don't just start branding. Branding is being done anyway. So you're already branding yourself as something. So
Mhm.
you want to be in control of that no matter what. Okay. So that means it's not just like the visual side. It's not just, are my colors pink and gold, or are they black and white? Am I classy? Am I fun and girly? Right. That's a lot of people like to
Right.
focus on those things. The truth is that those colors and all those things that you do, they're actually supposed to be driven by who you're attracting. So if
That's
you
right.
don't have these foundational things figured out, and you don't know who you're trying to attract, which means you have no control, then all of those things are going to be they're going to be controlled by what you like, and what
Mhm.
you like may not be what your potential client likes. So there may be a disconnect on even the look of your brand to the market that you're trying to attract, which is
Absolutely.
interesting.
It is
So
really interesting.
great example, okay? Let's say you're a sexy fun brand. You got it like a sexy name and it's fun, but you're in a small area where maybe the women are more conservative. It's not going to hit, right?
Right. Yes.
So, just for sake of example, so you have to adjust things in a way that the market's going to like, right? So it's what the market's going to be attracted to in the area. And so you have to figure that stuff out. And that's why you do the target market research, you do the niche research, and then you create an ideal client, a fake person who is essentially your ideal person, and you talk to that person through your marketing, through your branding, your ads, all of these things. And then you're spending less money and less time on these things because it's a hit versus, like you said, shooting in the dark.
Absolutely. Market research, I like to describe it as taking what you're doing in your business and matching it to what's happening in your target market's life and the context of what they're doing and looking for, their buying habits, and then also what's happening in the economy. What are the economic trends so that you can almost avoid the pitfalls by being able to study this target market and ideal client that you've created, right? What are their buying habits? What is their spending threshold? All of these things are really, you're able to find these statistics through either government statistics or buying marketing tools that way. But you're also able to identify better what products to give them and what services to provide them. For example, teeth whitening became really popular out here as the masks came off, right, for COVID. And so a lot of girls that I was coaching were feeling that, oh, well, let me hop on this trend of teeth whitening because it's going to be big without doing the market research behind it. So they took the training and they spent a lot of money, and then it wasn't marketed right, or the marketing that they were doing wasn't connecting to their target audience because they didn't have the data to back up that yes, teeth whitening was what they wanted. Actually, it was just an idea that they had. And I know that our business model, beauty industry, we kind of like to hop on trends or without doing the marketing research behind it. So that is one of the reasons that why we talk about this, because we get bored easily sometimes and we're like, I want to do something else. And then, without really taking the time to do the study and the business plan behind that.
It's funny. We have a lot of beauty product people in our group that for those of you who are like watching on YouTube, if you're watching a replay or anything, you could join Beauty Business Boss Babes. We love to give out lots of value every week. But essentially, what I find is we have a lot of beauty service providers, and we have a lot of providers who maybe they offers beauty services, but they also want to sell products as well, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
the market research is even more important. It's even more serious when you start really focusing on selling an actual product versus the feelings that attract somebody to wanting a monthly service. So, for instance, if you're trying to sell shampoo and conditioner, right, there are specific uh, pain points and specific things that the ideal customer who's going to buy this product is going to buy. Even if you're doing B2B, if you're a lash artist who's selling, if you're trying to be a manufacturer for other lash artists, you have to understand that not every lash artist is going to have the same pain points as you, and they're not going to be just like you. So you have to understand who you're targeting correctly so that you can sell your products, right?
Yeah. And also, you need to recognize, is this the right time in your business to start selling beauty products? Do you have an established audience who are going to sell these? We'll just use a little example of lash artists because I'm a lash artist and I kind of know this industry. If you're a beginner, it isn't the time to, and you're starting to get clients and wanting to book out, it's not the time to add a product service into it, because you're expending a lot of money to, even if it's wholesale, even if it's $5 a primer bottle or whatever it is, that's still money exiting the business that could be used towards marketing efforts, towards market research, towards understanding the ideal client and booking your business out so that you have a steady income. And then building the audience that's going to buy that income or buy those products, and then moving into or starting another stream of income. It's really hard to do both at the same time.
Yeah, we've had people in the past who've come in and they want to immediately start selling products, and
Yeah.
it's always it's a struggle, and
Yeah.
unless you have boatloads of money to invest, to make something happen and kind of make some noise, it's really going to take that foundation first, and building that foundation of, you need capital. And so that's why I think, we focus so much on Book Society. We focus on even like our high-end training program, Book to 100K. We focus on mastering those foundational skills, because you've got to be making money to be able to expand. Okay. You can't say to yourself, I don't like what I'm doing, so I'm going to pivot to like a product, because a product is a completely different beast,
Yes, it is. And it takes a totally, unfortunately, it's not something that's uncommon in our industry. So a lot of people attempt it, but then they're disappointed when it doesn't like take off like they thought they would. But then they're not also doing the work, like looking at their Instagram audience and seeing, okay, who is my Instagram audience made up of? Who's interacting with me? If I've been a lash artist for 5 years and now I'm wanting to launch into products, but all of my audience are my clients, or, okay, not necessarily the big lash artist base that I need, or I'm not training yet. So who do I sell these products to? Right. Oftentimes lash artists already have like a very loyal brand. They don't always like to switch up, especially their adhesives, so they're not necessarily willing to try other newer product lines. It doesn't mean you can't. We've had a lot of clients who are very successful at doing both because they have a training base to sell to, right? So, it really does. The difference between the two, those who are successful and not, are the ones who did the work to build their business correctly, do the market research behind who they're selling to, and then add during the right time of the business development path.
Right. And so it's funny when you start to, like if you were to Google, how do I do my market research, right? It's funny what you find. You find kind of some tough advice, right? Like, it's like, you got to do a case study. You have to do what do they call it?
Consumer reports.
Yeah, like things that a beauty professional will be like, what? What am I?
It's like a fire hose. drinking water from a fire hose instead of a garden hose.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If you've already, the cool thing is if you've already been doing beauty for a while, so if you've been maybe it's under a year, you've been doing your services for under a year, whether you're a wax person or, you're doing lashes or microblading or whatever, there's already a little bit of a base there. So you could start by even doing like polls and stuff in your own market. So who's following you already? Who's already attracted to you? Right? Can we get some hints and some clues? This can kind of start something. Now, this isn't always going to be it's not always going to be something that works, because if your brand is not attracting the right kind of people, maybe you need to change that up, right? I had to do this, in fact. My brand, when I started off, my brands they were like black and smoky and reds. I had like a whole Cruella vibe going. And I was only attracting men for my design services. I couldn't figure out why. I wanted women. And I had a coach tell me that my brand was kind of scary.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
yeah. And so I was not a pink person. That's not my personality.
Right.
But I changed it, and I had my ideal client in mind was a girl who's like obsessed with Mean Girls, who loves to dress up, loves Fashion Nova. I had this whole like millennial kind of thing going at the time, and it worked. I literally started attracting my market, and in fact, it blew up my business. It was a complete, it was like a I'm sorry, 180. It was a total 180 from what the results I was getting. So if you're not getting results, a lot of this could be because of what you're attracting so far. So if you're not attracting anything, or you're not attracting what you like, you definitely don't want to do polls on who currently is talking to you. But if you have a foundation and you're just like, I want more, right? Maybe I like my clients, but I want more clients. So let's find out how to find more of this client, right? In comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also studying their buying habits, right? Even down to what you have in your studio. Like, you're going to want to have data trackers so that track your sales and what their favorite services are and what they buy the most. I always carry brow wax and lash shampoo because it's something that every new client buys, or clients run out of it and they always want it, so they like the kits. And then I always have brow wax on for brow laminations and stuff. Those are my two highest sales things. I also have earrings, or I have eyeliner, or little things, but those they don't sell as well. And why is that? We always have to be asking, like, okay, why aren't products moving? Why aren't services increasing? And then thin out our menu. Like, a good example of this is that British guy who goes into restaurants and redoes the whole restaurant menu because it's like overloaded with all of these options that aren't even selling or giving value to the company. You have to do that same research into your own business and look at what's selling, what's not, and then increase bringing in things and doing the services that your clients are requesting. And that's just a small bit of it.
Right. So polls are great. Figuring out what the current clients are doing. If again, if you're kind of starting from scratch, you've got to really start looking at the area. And so
Yes.
so finding out, Facebook groups are really great. So what's interesting about Facebook groups, even though Instagram is so big and TikTok is so big, Facebook is still the leading social media platform that exists. So it has the most people on it. And it's really great for like searchability. So, if I'm in San Diego, so I can join 10 San Diego groups right now that just have women in them. I could find 10 San Diego groups right now that just have women in them who are interested in beauty.
That's
And
right.
I can just be a fly on the wall and see what they're complaining about, see what they're struggling with, see how other people are marketing their services in there, and kind of take note of like what is working, what's not working. It's this type of research that shortens that curve for you of figuring things out, because you now have data that tells you, you know what, there's a lot of nurses in the area and they do doubles. I should totally do some kind of relaxation special or even a lunch special that they can, have done in between their shifts or something where they can still get their nap in, but they can get their lashes done really quickly, right? So
Right.
there's but maybe that wouldn't work for a teacher because a teacher is at school during lunch break, right? So if you find out that there's actually a lot of teachers in the area who get their lashes done, and this is just for sake of example, you wouldn't do that special. So this is how your target market actually it directly affects your marketing and the specials and the things that you put out, right?
Absolutely. And it's all data driven. So you're definitely taking your ideal client data. Who are they? How much money do they make? What jobs do they what occupations do they have? Like Erica said, what are their hour availabilities? Is it a teacher demographic and they're only available from 3 to 5 in the evening time? Then maybe you use the day hours to target to a different audience. You want to be able to build the people into your business that are going to be consistent, loyal, and you can also provide other services to them. Many of my PMU brow clients come from my lash base. And once they establish that relationship with you, then they're going to want to perform more services with you, right? They're going to buy more products. If you self brand your lash shampoos, that's definitely something that they will purchase from you. So I think the big picture, big value that we can deliver to you now is that if you're not already tracking the data of what's happening in your business with your clients, what's at the very least, what services they prefer the best, how you're getting them, what sources they're getting, and then how much they're spending on average in your business and what their kind of spending threshold is. Like they definitely don't spend over 250 in a month. Then your business, you're not giving your business the tools that it needs to grow and do its best.
Right. So, so that being said, if you're starting to get into this and you're like, what are some ways I can really figure this out?
Mhm,
Start with, I would say start with those two is polling your
mhm.
current clientele base and then also going into Facebook groups. A really great way to really kind of like I said, like see what is going on and maybe there's something that's a little off with what you're doing, right? So again, so for instance, if you launch a new service and you want to figure out before you invest all the money in the service and the time and the changes that you have to make, you kind of want
Mhm.
to find out if it's going to work.
Right.
I get the whole like I'm tenacious and I'll make it work, but you'd be surprised. It's just like the menu item. There could be something really good about that menu item. Maybe that's really like a big deal out in Arizona, because Scottsdale loves this specific menu item, but then it doesn't hit the way it does in Colorado or Connecticut or something, right?
Oh,
So,
100.
yeah. And so the same thing goes with this. Let's say you're in an area that, for instance, microblading, it's a very serious service, right? So it's a permanent service. Um, I know people call it semi-permanent, but it's permanent.
Still on your
Um,
face for years, right?
yeah, yes, and
Maybe
you have
seriously.
you want to make sure that you're attracting people who want to pay the prices that it is because there's more in the higher end, right? um you want to make sure that you're attracting the right people who can afford those prices because a lot of microbladers, they struggle with that price point situation and they end up uh getting haggled and then they end up lowering their prices for the market. And they say, oh, I love this. They love to say, oh, the market, it's just, I can't charge that much. The market doesn't charge that. And which
Right.
is so strange to me, because it's such a permanent thing that it's such a high value service that you really could you really could start at an expensive rate and be okay. It's all in the way that you market and it's who you market to, right?
It is. Yeah, 100%. And it's
Yeah.
also knowing that there is a time frame where you're going to need the growth period time built in. That's why, your business needs to be ready, and you yourself need to be ready for that additional service or new service you're bringing in. If you've done your market research, if you know that this is something your clientele wants and is spending their money on, then you can price yourself correctly and incrementally increase that to what your worth is, like Erica was saying, right? And like actually charge the worth of that service to the people in your demographic. But then you also need to build in time for you to learn that service. Don't give up if at the beginning it's not bringing in the income that you want, but recognize that you need to build into that, right? And you need to do your market research so that yes, this is the direction I'm going. It is, the data says that the trajectory is correct, but also it's a skill that you need to be able to be confident in and perform well before it's
Of course.
make money
So in
for
that
you.
Right. So in that case, if you're in that situation where you're building your technique still, you need, again, you do not want the high maintenance client who is paying all this money and wants a specific result. You actually need to specifically cater to a specific type of audience and
Yeah.
attract a specific audience for that. You can't just say, I need 5 models on, for this week or whatever. It's got to be a lot deeper than that. Right. So, we even know of a lot of people who have struggled with even like the model thing,
Yeah.
because it's not even doing it for free. It's not always, it's not always the most trusting marketing like gimmick or whatever to put out there by saying, oh, I'm looking for people to practice tattooing on, I'll do it for free. That's
Yeah.
that's a tough sell. So
Yeah.
that's why it's important to be smart about your marketing and be smart about what you're putting out there and the way that you're putting it out there. And it will give you more success a lot faster than if you were just kind of hoping for the best. And that's why I believe the girls who work with us, who take advantage of the membership, who take advantage of coaching, that's why they have success faster than the average beauty professional. And and so that's why, if this is something that we've said, if there's something that we've said today where it's kind of hitting home for a few things for yourself, you're like, oh my gosh, I actually do think I don't know what the heck I'm posting on Instagram. I'm just posting random stuff, quotes and lash maps and portfolio pics, and I'm hoping that the portfolio pics turn into sales. You know, you need a strategy. And so that's what we do. We help with the strategy side of things. So if this is something that you're interested in, let us know and we'll be sure to reach out to you as well. Is there anything you wanted to add?
I just feel like I'm grateful for the impact we've been able to make with the girls that we do coach, and giving them these tools and accelerating their businesses into the 10K plus months that they're hitting. It is very, it's very meaningful to me, because a lot of girls who go into service-based industries like lashes or beauty or PMU, we're going as creatives. We're coming in as creatives. And so the business side comes slower, right? There are 2 lanes, and there's the creative side and then the business side. And so to give these tools for success to help their small businesses grow and be successful through marketing research, through identifying your ideal client and tracking your data and kind of teaching on that to further their growth and make their business kind of more sustainable than just kind of a flash in the pan new lash artist pops up in the industry. It's very rewarding, and I enjoy it thoroughly. So if like Erica said, if anything did hit home with you, we have options, and affordable options and high ticket options and things that will give you what you need in your business for the stage of the business that you're in. So yeah, join us. We are excited to help you.
And that's not limited to specific niches either. So, when it comes to services in general, you may feel that, oh my gosh, I don't know if a lash artist can help me, or I don't know if a designer can help me, right? But the truth is service-based business, the thing is, it's very, there's so many similarities in things. And that's why I personally even, I find such an interest and am able to help beauty professionals, not even being a beauty professional or provider myself. Right. So,
True.
um, it's something that don't get caught up in the idea that you have to be a specific niche. The one thing I would say is if you are somebody who sells products alone and that's all you sell, if you do contact us, just be prepared to be able to really invest in your business, and have that foundation of capital. But aside from that, our focus is booking out, because like we said, that's really the first step. If you can get booked out, you can then move on to so many other things that can really grow your business, give you more of your time back. You can be more like me, where you're building more passive income. And so you want to focus on that, mastering that foundation first before you head on into training and products and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So, okay,
Yes. Very
cool.
much.
I'll
Awesome.
end this. Awesome. So I'll end this broadcast, and we'll be throwing this in the guide as well. So with that, have a great rest of your day.
Okay. See you guys.